All right, chapter 5, what's in an attitude? Love this chapter. Some really important stuff in here that's going to help you in your journey. Number 1, what's the game plan? In the game plan, understand the power of a positive attitude, how it can help you reach your goals in sport and in life. Number 2, reflect on people who have been influential in your life and think about the attitude that they displayed on a daily basis. A little connection activity we're going to take you through. I think you'll enjoy it. And number 3, understand the link that a positive attitude has on both your individual performance and ultimately the performance of those around you, your teammates. So let's get into it. So from the book, a few things that I wanted to go through. Number 1 is, let's talk about it. An attitude, this is part of that Get Real acronym. Okay, we talked about Get Real surrounds things you can control, things that are free, available to you, and you fully control so that you can be more free, less worried about things that are going to be outside of your control, that are going to derail you, occupy your mind, cause fear and performance anxiety. Focusing only on the things you could control. R stands for resiliency, being more mentally tough, being a more resilient athlete, being able to bounce back and overcome challenges, setbacks, failures. We talked about strategies specifically for doing that. Effort, E. And specifically, we got into the details of having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. What a huge advantage that can be to you. Now we're going to talk about the A, attitude, a decision that will enhance your performance and elevate the performance of your team as well. An attitude is defined as a settled way of thinking or feeling about something, typically one that's reflected in a person's behavior. An attitude is something that people around you can feel, okay? Can feel. People will hear the words you say, okay? They'll hear the words you say. More importantly, they'll see with their eyes, they'll see your actions, okay? But even more importantly than that, they're going to feel your attitude. Famous philosopher Maya Angelou once said that people will forget about what you said and did, but they won't forget about how you made them feel. So an attitude, therefore, is the decision to think or feel about someone or something that is reflected in your behavior, in your actions. So your ability determines what you're capable of doing. Your abilities determines what you're capable of doing. Your motivation determines what you decide to do. We talked about motivation in previous chapters. Things like developing a stronger reason why, connecting and holding on to your why, because that's gonna help motivate you and pull you through those difficult times. But your attitude determines how well you do something. The attitude you bring to practice, the attitude you bring to games, is going to affect your level of engagement, how hard you're going to work, how focused you're going to be, how resilient you're going to be, how coachable you're going to be. All those things are attitude issues. So the question is, how's your attitude? How engaged are you during workouts and practices? How do you choose to think, feel, and behave during difficult situations? How do you act towards your teammates in practice, during competition, and throughout your day? Are you the same person in times of adversity as you are during times of success? Again, your attitude is something that's experienced by others through the feeling they get when they're with you. I love this quote by famous motivational speaker and sales trainer Zig Ziglar. It's on page 61. He says, it's your attitude, not your aptitude, that will always determine your altitude. It's your attitude, not your aptitude. Your aptitude is how good you are at something. No, it's your attitude, not your aptitude, that will always determine your altitude. Quick story. My son's a pilot, and I was flying with him one time in a small aircraft, and he kept checking this indicator on his dashboard. He kept looking at it. And I said, what do you keep looking at? He said, well, that's my attitude indicator. I said, your attitude indicator, interesting. Tell me about that. He said, well, it kind of gives you where you are relative to the ground. So the distance between you and the ground, because the ground, understand, is going to change with hills and mountains and stuff. It kind of gives you that distance, that, where you're flying in relation to the ground. If you're going over flat ground and your attitude's going down, that means the plane's going down, right? Right. I said, so that means you're kind of coasting, you're taking your foot off the gas. Yeah, that's right. You'd be going down. And if you want your attitude to go up, that means you have to pull back the throttle, give it more gas, change the pitch of your wings, and apply energy and effort to climb, to increase your attitude, right? And he says, yeah, that's right. I thought, that's very interesting. Because it's the same thing in life, okay? You've got to put effort and energy into your attitude, okay, if you want it to climb. And if you're not paying attention to it, take your foot off the gas, and your attitude's going to start to drop. So thought that was a really cool analogy from the world of aviation. Okay, now one more thing I want to talk to you about attitude, and this is huge, is that Napoleon Hill is a famous author. He studied successful people from the turn of the 19th century, people like the Wright brothers, Alexander Graham Bell, Thomas Edison, Andrew Carnegie, these titans of industry, these people who accomplished great things in building our country and our world as we know it today. And I studied these people for a long time, and he came to a very interesting conclusion in that he said it's not really these people's level of intelligence. It's not their level of intelligence that allows them to be great and accomplish these great things. More so, it's their level of intellect. They have greater intellectual capacity. Okay, fancy word. What's that mean, Coach Smith? What's intellect mean? Well, intellect is your ability. For example, there's intellectual properties like your sense of trust, your creativeness, your vision, your ability to problem solve, and to trust your instincts. Those are all part of your intellectual processes. And when you have a negative attitude, those properties are diminished. You're not being and thinking as creatively. You kind of get this tunnel vision, right? You're not seeing things as well. You're not trusting your instincts. You're not trusting your other senses, like your sense of, touch and smell and hearing, and your creative and problem-solving properties are diminished. All right? All those things in a negative state of mind get diminished. Well, if you have a positive attitude, okay, then those things all open up to you. And those things are really important in sports. Being able to see the field, see the big picture, chunk information that you see with your vision, be more creative, trust yourself, trust your instincts, make those, those decisive decisions. All those things are super important in sports. So a positive attitude is going to open up those things, those intellectual properties, and allow you to be at your best. So it's really, really important. Here's some other specific strategies or action-based strategies for implementing the right attitude so you can begin making a difference today. Number one, eliminate your helpless attitude. Know that you can always make a difference. You can always do something different to create a better outcome. For example, if you're a basketball player and you're missing your shots, you're just not on that night, you can always work harder on defense. You can always distribute the ball better to your teammates. You can always hustle more. No matter what your sport is, you can always fill a different role to maximize your performance when certain parts of your game are diminished. So quit feeling so helpless. I talk a little bit about, maybe you're experiencing a losing season. Maybe your team's just not very good, right? Again, are you being helpless, or are you focused on, well, you know what? Are we losing with direction? That means are we losing games, but are we getting better? Are we building our program? Are we gonna leave this thing in a better spot than when we started? Okay. Again, there's losing, and then there's losing in a positive direction. So again, eliminate the helpless attitude. Go after what it is you want. Don't wait for solutions to be presented to you. Don't think you have to have all the answers before you take action. Start by asking these questions. When faced with a difficult situation, ask, what outcome do I want from this situation? What's required of me to deliver that outcome that I want? Number 3, am I willing to do whatever it takes to get that outcome? Talk about the law of diminishing intent, which states that the longer you wait to do something that needs to be done in the moment, the lesser the chance that you'll take that action. You can remember times when you've had intentions of doing something, but then you don't do it right away, you forget about it. You don't end up not doing it. So you've got to take the actions right away, because the longer you wait to implement those actions, the lesser the chance that you'll implement them at all. Okay. Number 4, are you acting with relentless positivity in all that you do? People are drawn to positive people. That's leadership. When things aren't going well, people look for leadership. Okay. And they look for positive leadership. Are you being a positive force to your teammates? Someone that they'll want to gravitate to, rather than being part of the problem by being in the pity party groups or blaming other people or being victim, acting the role of the victim. Okay. Number 5, do you have visual cues around you that are reminding you to stay positive? I talked about in my book, we had this sign, here, talk about it right here. When I was playing football in Central Michigan in high school, when we'd leave the locker room and walk out to the practice field or to the stadium, there was a sign right there that said PMA, which stood for positive mental attitude. And we always touched that sign walking out. We always made a point to touch that sign because even back then, we understood how important having a positive mental attitude was. So if you don't think that having a positive attitude is required for having 100% success, then check this out. If A, B, C, D equals 1, 2, 3, etc., so C equals 3, D equals 4, then knowledge equals 96%. And hard work would equal 98%. But attitude, add up all those numbers, that's 100% success. Thought that was really cool. Of course, it's a metaphor, but I think that it does really hold true in a lot of ways. So let's go over to the companion guide. And number 1, list a recent example where you displayed a negative attitude because of stress, adversity, failure. Okay. Here's the question. Did it affect your performance? The circle one, did it elevate it or diminish it? And then explain how. The potential answer here could be it distracted you, took your mind off what you should be focusing on. It de-energized you. Okay. It kept you from executing the next play to the best of your ability. Maybe it destroyed your enjoyment of the game. Okay, something to think about. Number 2, how did a negative attitude make you feel? Think about times when you've had a negative attitude. Did it make you feel diminished or more energized? Number 2, distracted or more focused? Number 3, helpless or more creative or more in control maybe? Number 4, tight and stressed or loose and free? I think you understand where this is going. Okay, again, this is just helping you make those connections. Number 3, how did a negative attitude affect your performance? So not only did it make you feel, and number 3, how did it affect your performance? Did it diminish it or elevate it? Number 4, how could your negative attitude have affected your teammates? Again, just helping you make these connections in your mind so that you can change your mindset about your attitude moving forward. Number 5, list a person in your life that you admire the most. Now, okay, somebody in your life, like a family member or a coach or a teacher or a friend. Okay, the question then is list 2 or 3 characteristics that explain why you admire that person most. Why is it you admire them? Think about it. If I were to ask you, is it the amount of money they have, the fancy car they drive, the big house they live in, the vacations they go on, is that what you admire most about them? I bet it's not. I bet the thing you admire most about them is the way they deal with adversity, the way they deal with life and challenges. If you're being honest with yourself, I think that's what you would admit to. Well, what you admire then, if that's the case, is you admire their attitude. That is how important an attitude is. The person you admire most, you admire them because of their attitude. Be that person. Okay, be that person. That's all attitude. Okay, number 7. Talked about the intellectual properties are enhanced when you have a positive attitude. Your sense of creativity, your vision, your trust in yourself and your instincts, your decisiveness. All those things are enhanced. Think of a time when you had a great performance. List the things that elevated. Were you more creative? Did you trust yourself more? Were you more instinctive? Did you trust your instincts more? Were you more decisive? Did you have a better sense of vision? Think about those performances. And then maybe think about a time when you didn't, where you felt restricted. And remember, those things are a result of having a positive mindset, positive attitude. Okay, post-game, using well, better, how. Write a few paragraphs about what your attitude has been in the past, and feel free to specify certain examples. How do you think your attitude has affected you and your performance? Has your attitude and mindset been positive or negative in the past? How has your body language been? Your attitude is reflected in your body language. How are you carrying yourself? What's your self-talk? Those are all attitudes. So write down what you think you can improve on moving forward and sign below as your commitment to make those changes. Okay, great chapter. I enjoyed it. Read chapter 6, and I'll see you in the next session.